What's going on, everybody? It is Chase from NRWA, and I am sitting here with ServLine. And right here, I have two very special guests with me. I have Jenna Hazlett and Mark Slater. And they are from ServLine by HomeServe, an affinity partner of the National Rural Water Association for nearly 10 years to speak about critical issues facing water providers and their residential customers and explore some solutions. So let's just dive right onto this. What do you guys say? So before we get to the main topics of our discussion today, I know that ServLine has been working with the NRWA for the past, how many years has that been?
10 years.
10. Okay, 10 years. Wow, that's a partnership. We are very, very proud to have you guys, and we appreciate you guys' partnership. That's a long time. That's a blessing. I haven't been here that long, but I appreciate you guys having that type of dedication with us. And so how's the relationship been, and how's it been beneficial for you guys?
Yeah, it's been great. We've gotten to know, obviously, all the people at NRWA and the state associations, and really the NRWA helped us get to understand a lot of the issues that are going on in the water world and really connect with the state associations and find out a little bit more, and then also the utilities within the state. So we got to understand a lot of the national problems that the water industry has and some of the ways that we might be able to help address some of the issues that come along.
So our relationship with the National Rural Water Association really has helped to get us in front of water utilities across the whole United States. I think NRWA does a really good job of helping rural water systems, obviously at the legislative level, but also just getting water utilities exposed to different resources that are out there in general. And the affinity partnership, I think we were actually the first affinity partnership, one of the first ones to come alongside them. So we have grown as NRWA has grown, and it's been really neat to just learn how to show up for rural water and how to be a part of what NRWA is doing, how to be involved in the solutions. And then I've also been fortunate and blessed to see the women in rural water grow. I've been able to be on various committees and work groups, and it's been fun to see the females coming more to the surface and into the limelight. We know that we've always been there, but it's been really neat to see us kind of rally together and share stories and network and, have these relationships just grow even. It's been fun to see our female relationships be able to highlight. It means a lot to be able to support one another, and so it's been really neat to be a part of that too.
So, Jenna, that was some great points. Something that I'm curious about is, what do you guys see as the most significant problem facing the water industry today? I mean, there's a plethora of them, but what's the biggest one, and what's something that you guys are really passionate about combating?
So obviously there's an unending list of issues that rural water systems are facing on any given day. And I know that the workforce development issue is something that is pressing on rural water systems. We see people retiring or leaving the industry, and especially for rural water, I think it's hard. You can often train someone just for them to leave and go on to maybe a bigger city, a bigger system. And I know NRWA and the local state associations are doing a lot to try and combat that. But then we also see a lot of issues with aging infrastructure. We know that the utilities themselves are dealing with a lot of aging infrastructure issues, but also their customers. And that's something that you don't often think about for water customers. You don't think about what's in the ground. You just turn on the tap and water comes out. They don't really think about their pipes until something happens. And their infrastructure is up against the same sort of issues that the utilities are facing. Tree roots, pipes eroding, you name it, ground shifting. And so when those issues happen, what do? They have to turn to their water utility, who's also facing these issues. So we find that our program can really help to combat that in a variety of ways. Yeah, those are just a couple of the issues that I think we see in today's rural water world.
So what are some of the negative consequences associated with aging water infrastructure, and what are those impacts?
Well, obviously the biggest one is going to be water leaks, whether it's on the utility side or the customer side. But I think the latest statistic we saw was over 1 trillion gallons a year is going out into the system, and that's just on the customer side. That's homeowners' water leaks. So you've got that, and you've got all the economics that are behind that. That people are having to deal with, whether it's bad debt for utilities, for high water bills, for the customer, the fact that they're having to get out and fix a lot of lines all the time. And so now that there's a lot of money coming into the system to replace that, it's still not happening on the customer side of the meter. And so where we see the biggest impact with our company is just really high water bills for customers, and then all that the utilities and the cities have to do in order to be able to address that issue. And that's where we come in and help.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So tell us a little bit about what is ServLine by HomeServe.
60,000 feet, we pay for customer water leaks. There's a whole lot more that goes into it, but essentially if somebody has a high water bill as a result of a water leak on their side of the meter, then we come in and resolve that for the utility. We pay that bill for that customer. All they have to do is pay their average, but we do a whole lot more than that as well. What we learned through the utilities that we work with is that customer water leaks impact every department in their system. Finance is involved, their management is involved, customer service is certainly involved. Because they have some of the hardest calls that they take are about high water bills. So customer water leaks impact every facet of a utility. And we come in and essentially become the back office, handle their water leaks for them, and pay the bill.
Going back to also kind of tying in aging infrastructure and the issue for customers, it doesn't just the water bill, that's only part of the issue. When a customer gets that high water bill, most people these days are dealing with a plethora of other financial stressors. I don't know that I could name a single person in my immediate friend group that would say otherwise. And so when you get that high water bill, your customer is already backed into a corner with, okay, I didn't expect this. I didn't budget for this. And not only do I have to figure out how to pay for this utility bill, I have to figure out what caused it to begin with, which often they turn to the utility themselves and say it wasn't a leak, only to find out it was. And then they're dealing with the cost of fixing whatever caused that leak or caused that high water bill. So it's a multifaceted issue that they are already stressed about and turning to the utility for, asking for some sort of assistance or trying to figure out. And that can be a very embarrassing scenario for customers. Some utilities, I know, it has to get board approval in order for them to give any sort of assistance if they do provide assistance to their customers. And that's hard to go up before a group of people and ask for help, to say that I can't afford to pay this. I can't afford for a plumber or contractor to come out and find it or fix it. So it's just the problem is escalating on a minute by minute basis, second by second, as the leak continues. And that's just a very difficult place to be. And so the thing that I love most about this program is that it solves that. It's a proactive solution that utilities can put in place to help their customers. It communicates to them, we have thought about this issue ahead of time so that if it does happen, you are protected. We have thought about you here and we want to help you. And it's up to the customer if they want to participate in it or not. And so they get to say, thank you. Instead of being angry about having to pay a portion of a high water bill or maybe the whole thing or be put on a payment plan, they get to be told, you're covered, call ServLine, and they will handle it.
That is such a huge blessing. That's awesome that you guys provide that for people. I mean, like you said, that's sometimes detrimental when you're budgeting and you're like, oh my gosh, what is this? How am I going to pay that? I have food I need to, I need to feed my kids. I got to eat, and I got to take care of my family. And now it's like you have this what a blessing of you guys to be able to come in and relieve some of these homes and families that are experiencing this sometimes a very detrimental financial crisis.
You know, Chase, when we first started this program, when we would go to board meetings and utility meetings and hear some of those stories, it really surprised us, the emotion that was involved in it and how upset some of the people were. And we came to find out that, you know, even today, 60-something% of American families live paycheck to paycheck. That extra $500 or $600 that they get, they don't know how they're going to pay it. You know, if their credit cards aren't maxed, they're going to have to either not pay another bill like you were just referring to, or they're going to have to go borrow the money from somewhere in order to pay that water bill. And I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where your water's about to be cut off, but that's not a good situation. It's terrifying for a lot of families. And so there was a lot of emotion behind it. So we were very, very glad to be a part of the solution for the utilities.
That is awesome. What a blessing that you guys are giving this initiative, and I know that it is just serving families and America in general. So has the ServLine program been widely adopted by rural water utilities?
It has been, and we're very blessed for that, and for the being able to work through rural water associations and National Rural Water to reach so many of the communities. But we've got over 250 partners in the program. We have paid out over the last 10 years, we've paid out $45 million plus in leak adjustment claims. So not only has it been widely adopted, it's also widely used. And in every community that we're in, the public relations component for the city or the utility has been fantastic. People really love the program. If we are in a utility system, over 96% of the people in that system will participate in our program. So it's extraordinarily well used.
We know that not all utilities in the country offer a leak adjustment in the traditional sense to their customers. We know in the Southeast, which is predominantly where I spend the most amount of my time, we do see a lot of leak adjustment policies in the Southeast where they will give some sort of assistance to their customers. And with that, the problem is utilities have to have revenue, obviously, to maintain business. They need to have that. So when they give that adjustment to their customers, they are losing that revenue. They're writing it off, which then you have to account for in some way in the future, whether it be a rate increase or what have you. And so our solution, our program can come in and be a solution for actually recapturing that revenue and actually eliminating some of the bad debt that the utility has. We were a little shocked when we had a partner come to us. We weren't really expecting to hear this feedback, but they had seen a lot of either renters in their community who got a high water bill, couldn't afford it, and they had either moved or changed location because they just couldn't afford to deal with the issue. Well, that left the utility with an issue as well as bad debt. And they saw that start to decrease once they implemented this program because there was already a solution in place. They were just going to get the water bill covered by ServLine. And so that started to decrease. So financially, it really helps to just make the utility stronger. And for the customer, obviously, it's making them whole for their utility as well. So it's making them happy. And from a customer service perspective, I love going and talking to customers, customer service folks with our current partners because they love our program. They love it because when their folks call in prior to our program, they had to do the back and forth phone call with them. They had to have them fill out a form. They had to walk them through this whole process, follow their policy, maybe take it before their board. There's so many steps to dealing with that issue, possibly sending out a truck, so many different steps where now all that they have to do is direct their customer to ServLine and we'll handle it for them. So you're dealing with a lot of salaried hours as well, and just the stressor of not having, we have had people tell us stories that they've been cussed at. They have been cursed by customers. They have had a lot of stressful phone calls from their customers, and these are their neighbors a lot of people that work at these utilities, they are living in the communities that they are serving. So they go to church with them. They see them at the convenience store. Their kids go to school together. So it's not like they can get away from them. If they say, sorry, we can't help you, they know still that person is dealing with the burden of a high water bill. And if you as a utility have the chance and the opportunity to solve that for them, I mean, our customer service folks, they just love it. And so it's really neat to be able to hear those stories. And we have partners, 10 years old that are still telling us that this is one of the best programs they've ever instituted. So I think for me, I see the positives of recapturing that revenue, eliminating the kind of customer service headache, as you will, but then also just providing a phenomenal customer service benefit to your water and sewer customers.
That is beautiful. So, I mean, you guys are working for these rural water associations while they are working for their communities. And it makes it to where, I love how you worded that, to where it makes it more of a fluent ecosystem of how they work together with these people. They see them every day at, school, church, at the grocery store, but now the community is now working together to be able to move forward. And that's so awesome that you guys are able to come in and bridge that gap. That's a beautiful thing. So something that I'm just wanting a little more enlightenment on, how does the program integrate with the current billing and management system specifically?
In a couple of different ways, and we can work with utilities most of the time however they want us to work. Some utilities will just build this into their rate. They offer it as a service to the community, and it's built in, and then we become their back office and run the program. Other communities will put this as a line item on their bill, but we work very well with all the utility billing systems, and it's very seamless.
Okay. Is there any training that's necessary for the utility staff or the support provided? Do you guys handle most of it, or do you guys initiate training? Tell me a little bit about that process.
Yeah, so the training process for ServLine, when a partner wants to implement this program, or it's been approved for them to implement the program, we've got it nailed down pretty well. We like for there to be training with the staff so that they're not blindsided by any questions that the customers might have as they call them. We are designed to be the back office for them. So we always tell our partners, just direct your customers to our customer service so that we can handle those conversations, answer any questions they might have. We do the processing of the claims as well for them. But obviously for a water utility, this is a partnership. So we want them to understand the program. So we will have a staff training with all of their staff, or however many they would like, just to make sure that they all have their questions answered, and feel comfortable before the program is ever launched, because we don't want to ever throw a surprise to a customer service representative or a manager. We want them to feel comfortable with the program.
I think that's a really good point about how this program is run. When a community decides to implement our program, it's not like we just jump right on it. There is a lead up. We give the community a lot of time to understand what's going on, to have questions. We're available a couple of months before it even implements. Our customer service team will be available and on the phones. It's communicated very well throughout the community. So it truly is a partnership between us and whatever utility we're working with.
That's beautiful. That's awesome that you guys are able to come in and, even, using the same emphasis again, but it's almost like a bridging of the gap of training, any bridging a gap to these communities that you guys are providing. It's awesome. So, I think you touched on this already, but just for the sake of questions, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to have you guys, maybe if one of you guys somebody else wants to touch on it, if the other one. I think, Mark, you touched on this a little bit. So, Jenna, if you want to pick it up, whoever. So how is the program communicated to customers? So how do you meet with the customers? How do you let them know? Do you guys do like a town hall, or how does that work?
I have definitely attended a town hall or two. So the way that we help to educate the residents and bring this program to a community, obviously it is done in partnership. You will hear that as a common theme in our language. It is in partnership with the utility. So we at ServLine do not send anything out to customers that the utility has not seen and approved and worked with us on. We really like to emphasize with our partners that this is a customizable program. Pretty much from start to finish. There are some things in there, obviously, that we have to have as staples, but we understand that every community does things a little bit differently, and we need to follow suit. A utility is going to understand their customer base better than we are. So we have our standard process of we're going to at least send out some brochures in the customers' bills to make sure that they have information on it. That brochure is going to have ServLine's customer service number on it. It's going to have some basic information on there so that customers can see it before it ever starts. But then we can do even more than that if the utility would like. We can help them craft a letter that goes a little bit more in depth to their customers if they would like to help them understand the change that's coming and when it's going to start. We often work with utilities on, social media is a big thing these days. And so we'll do social media posts and work to do press releases if they would like. Education about the program is really important to a lot of our partners before launching it. They want to know that their customers have seen that information or that they have done due diligence to make it available. And customers who may not pay attention, we also have things in place. Once the program has launched, we have a policy or two in place to be able to help those customers if they didn't see the information and maybe don't want to participate in the program. We can even work with the utility on that as well.
In summarizing, would there be anything that you guys want to share or, to kind of hit the bullet points of y'all's initiatives and y'all's services that you provide to these communities? And what would you want someone who's considering your services to know if you want to dive in and give us some bullet points about that?
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to do that. And honestly, Chase, I wish we could take credit for a lot of the ideas that came through, but they really came through our utility partners and where they would say, you know what, get us out of the banking business. We're having to schedule all these payments or you know what, my staff is super stressed right now. And is there any way you can relieve this issue from our staff or we've got bad debt that's because these guys are getting these high water bills and they're leaving. So from a utility side, and Jenna touched on it earlier, that reclamation of revenue, being able to get all of the dollars that you're billing through your system, and then also relieving the utility of a lot of the burden and financial and workforce issues that go along with just dealing with customer water leaks. So, we would love to claim all of those ideas that we've implemented, but what we did is just listen to our utility partners and say, if there's something, if you're dealing with all of these issues that you've got to deal with, if there's something that we can take off your plate to make your life easier, this is one that we do. And not only will we be able to do it well and to your standards, but it's also going to be an extraordinarily positive public relations piece for you. Your customers are going to love it. And so if there's anything, if somebody's looking at it, listen, don't talk to us. We'll give you a list of partners that you can call and talk to, or state association representatives that see this implemented every day. And we'd love for you to talk to them and just get a direct conversation going on how we've been able to help them.
Wow. Okay, that's a great opportunity. So y'all's work speaks for itself, and that's anybody out there considering, if you're wanting to reach out and talk to another association and get some information, I think that's a great opportunity to be able to hear almost in a review sense of just how's this work. And I think that's awesome that you guys can provide that for somebody.
So, sometimes, Chase, what we'll hear is from different utilities, and there's certain technologies that are coming out. And so somebody might say, well, listen, we're going to implement AMI. And so we believe that our customer water leak issue is going to go away. And what we've learned is from our partners and those who have AMI meters is that that's not exactly true. The problem is reduced in terms of a dollar value, but it's not eliminated. Your customers are still going to have water leaks. And as a utility, you're going to notify them and they're going to get notifications, but it's still up to the customer to resolve the water leak before that leak goes away. And so what we've learned is that actually we come in and handle those things, and we do it at a lesser rate because the dollar value is lower, but we're still handling the same volume of claims. We're still handling the same volume of calls. The utility is still going to have the issue. It's just the dollar value is reduced. So I would say 70% of the utilities that we work with have an AMR or AMI system in place. Some still are on direct read, but that's not the majority.
I would reiterate that I talk with utilities on a weekly basis, and I know that there is no shortage of things trying to grab their attention, and there is no shortage of priorities that they are focused on. And I know that sometimes it can feel just like too much to try and add one more thing into the policy adjustments or into adding a new program can feel very daunting. And I think I would just like to communicate to utilities across the whole United States that we really make this a seamless effort, a seamless transition for you and for your customers. We are not in any rush, but we know that your customers, utilities care about their customers deeply. We hear that all the time. And by caring for your customers, if you want to do that really well, helping them with this issue and putting a solution in place before they even have it is one of the greatest ways that you can help your customers.
That's awesome. Every 2 weeks is another paycheck that they're having to budget. So jumping on this and getting involved sooner is better for your community than sitting back and waiting on it. It's what I kind of took away from that. So that's very powerful. I think that's great. Well, I appreciate y'all's time. This has been a pleasure. And, we are here at WaterPro, and I hope you guys enjoy this, and I hope you guys got some value out of this. So thank you, Jenna. Thank you, Mark. Thank you guys for watching. Y'all have a blessed one, and we'll catch you guys later.